Well, hi there. Thank you for being here. Regardless of how much time you spend with me today, I really appreciate you. And to my returning viewers, I can explain. So allow me to tell you what we're going to be doing today, and I will start airing myself out for you. So I believe I am cursed because I swear to you, I hit record and told you everything about what I was going to do. I started to tell you my whole thought process behind doing it, and it was not recording, right? So let me catch you up to speed real quick. So if you've been here before, you know that this Meow Cafe 3-inch binder is where Kehoe is stored. If you're new here, Kehoe is my magnum opus. He is my pride and joy. He is my #1 priority collection, right? And this is where he lived. Yes, as you can see, I moved all the pages out, all the dividers, all the everything. He's not here anymore. Where he is, let me grab that. Luckily, I didn't get very far before realizing that the recording was not recording, but he's here. And he is also here. So yes, the entire collection was moved out of the pages, out of the binder, unsleeved, and then re-sleeved into these Mermaid Stardust sleeves. And for the second time now, let me try and tell you how this all happened. I'm like afraid to hit the pause button because I don't want it to stop recording again. I'll have to keep like standing up and making sure. I'm already a little nervous about the pages getting caught on these rings, but we'll talk about that another time. So here he is. It's only the first 3 pages that I got through before I realized what had happened. So let me try and rewind my brain so I can get back to telling you again what exactly happened after my last storing photo cards video. I'll put my stack off to the side here and just continue as if nothing happened. But here we are right now, and I'm already super happy with how he's looking in here, except this cat hair. Okay. I am really satisfied. I think this was a great decision. A decision that took multiple weeks to come about. As you can see by the way I did not upload anything. We got an 8 pocket page now, okay? So let me get myself back together. So what had happened was, after my last storing photo cards video, I realized that I was not unhappy with how my collection looked, but I realized there were a lot of changes I wanted to make, right? And because of that, it just didn't feel right to me to make a collection flip through video, just to immediately start changing things around. Something about that just felt kind of like I don't know, just a waste of time to me, and personally, I didn't think I wanted my first collection flip through on the channel to be something I immediately undo by changing everything, right? And spoiler alert for that eventual collection flip through, the only collection that has not really changed is Kehoe and 82 Major. All the other groups, who and how I collect them, have changed. But since this video is just all about Kehoe's reorganizing, I'm going to just stick to talking about him for now. And so with his collection, obviously I didn't want to change who I collected or how, but I did notice that I wasn't fully satisfied with how I had his collection displayed, right? I am a horrible multitasker. I need to I need to get it together because I have so much to tell you and so little time. Right, so I think my very first video on the channel was putting Kehoe into that 3-inch binder, right? And the 3-inch seemed like the best idea because I have no intention of stopping his collection or slowing down with it. But I think the main reason for needing bigger binders is all of the extravagant sleeving that happens. So to be quite honest with you, I never really enjoyed double sleeving my collections. But with the pocket page sizes, of course that sort of feels like something that needs to be done. So the card doesn't move around inside the page, which is something I also hate. So I spent multiple weeks not posting or filming, but what I was doing was taking old binders out of my closets, old pages, old sleeves, right? And just playing around, seeing what worked, what felt good, what didn't. And it wasn't until I used my filler sleeves, the white Stardust ones from Mondu Deco, that it really clicked for me. There's something about, I guess, the texture of the sparkle sleeves where your card doesn't really move around inside of them, which means that if you use these sleeves, you can single sleeve them without them moving around, right? And so that was sort of the best of both worlds solution for me. I really wanted to do the double sleeving, I really did. I love So I guess what I'm trying to say is, I love how double sleeving looks. I love watching other people's collection videos, and the hollow inner sleeve, colorful outer sleeve is something that I think looks really, really good. But I realized that for me, that is just not what I liked for my collection personally, right? And I'm the one that's flipping through it and storing things, so I needed to figure out how to make this binder as conducive for my brain as possible, right? Because the last thing I wanted to do was become unsatisfied with the collection and just kind of throw it in the closet and forget about it, right? Because when I get overstimulated, that is what I tend to do. I just throw everything in a bag and pretend it's not there and try and tackle it later on eventually, but just feel very frustrated about the whole thing, right? And I want to avoid that at all costs because I love collecting. And it's something I want to continue to love and enjoy doing. And with that, I've been having to find the middle ground between what are things I can still work with, what things can I sort of get over, and what things actually need to be changed. These are not completely in order. I have just now realized this could be a problem. Don't worry, I remembered what I was going to do here. I left out a filler. Let me get one real quick and then I'll continue my story. Right, so I was talking about middle ground. So what I wanted to do, I guess the main reason why I was trying to find a new binder for him is, let me pull it out again and show you. This little rubber piece right here, the binder had gotten to a point where there were so many pages in it, I was worried about this starting to bend the pages, right? If that makes sense. And I can't really show you because of the setup, but the backboard also has started to bend. And I know you can just flip it the other way around to sort of correct it. But I didn't really like that that was something I started to see. And also, with the way this binder is, I keep worrying that if I grab it wrong, it'll do this, right? It'll slide around like that and like potentially crack, and I did not want to risk the collection or the binder getting damaged at all. Which is when I started to look into these sort of box binder options. And what I initially wanted to do was get one of the new Old Bias Duo binders because they are super beautiful and super high quality. And so when they got announced on pre-order, I immediately went to the website and added one to my cart. And with that 10% off pre-order coupon, the total was $120 something. I'm just gonna like let that hang in the air for a second as I get this card in here. $120. And I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, but what I am gonna tell you is what that means for me personally, right? I let that thing sit in my cart for multiple weeks. And I could not shake the feeling that I would feel sort of gross about spending that much on a binder. And I am not about any judgment or shame. I'm just telling you that based on how much I make and where my financial priorities are, buying a binder for $120 something just does not align with that. And so I let it sit there, and I decided that I needed to explore a different option because that one was just not the one for me. Not only did I want a new binder, but I wanted the new sleeves, right? And so when I popped over to Meow Cafe and saw they were restocking their 2-inch box binder, I added that to my cart as well as the 400 Mermaid Stardust sleeves, and the price ended up being the exact same for the binder and the sleeves. I got to kill 2 birds with 1 stone for the same price as just buying the singular binder from Old Bias. And I felt a lot better about that decision, so I eventually, again, after letting it sit in my cart for maybe 2 weeks, I decided that this is the direction I wanted to move in. And I am already very happy with how this is going. Besides my shaky hands not being able to store the cards properly. I am like actually sweating, but I refuse to turn the fan on because I already talk so quietly and I don't want to get drowned out by the fan. So, surprise. Yes, this is what I was having a crisis over and therefore decided not to film or post anything until I figured it all out. I'm really upset because I was super excited to make this video and talk about what I was doing and why you guys did not get the collection video, but now that I'm filming, I just feel so off. But I promise this is something I'm like really excited about, and I hope you guys are not too mad at me for withholding that collection video from you, and I hope you understand that this was a big deal for me. I have never collected anyone the way that I collect Kehoe, and the voice in the back of my head saying, you know, something wasn't quite right, I needed to make a change and figure out what that was before I just got frustrated and overstimulated, right? That is really important to me. The last thing I want to do is for something I enjoy to turn into something that just brings negativity into my life instead of happiness, you know? But I really do think that this was the secret sauce, the golden recipe, if you will. I decided to keep the same pages because I really do enjoy these pages, and I have so many of them. And I haven't thrown away any of the old sleeves. If you've been here before, you know I previously used the Meow Cafe Star Hollow inner sleeve and clear outer sleeve, and I still have all of those, and my goodness, do those sleeves take up so many Pokemarket boxes. I'm still trying to decide how I will reuse those or possibly rehome those. Same thing for the 3-inch binder. I think I'm going to let that sit in my closet for a bit before I decide to try and sell it. And I guess speaking of selling things, I should maybe segue a little bit into what has happened to my other non-Kehoe collections. Other than Kehoe, the only collection that is not changing is 82 Major. All of my other collections, I say that as if there's like 6, you know. There's just a couple other ones, but those couple of others have changed quite dramatically. I don't know how much I want to spoil in this video, but just know there has been a considerable amount of downsizing that has taken place. And through that downsizing, I have picked up 2 new casual collections, right? So I guess if you want to count individual idols, I had 6 casual collections. I collected 3 members of Boy Next Door and 3 members of NMIX. And out of those 6 collections, I dropped 5 of them. And out of those 5, I've picked up 2 new ones, like I already mentioned. The only collection of those 6 that is surviving is Woonhawk of Boy Next Door. And the entirety of NMIX is gone, and Jaehyun and Leehan are gone. And of course, that is not because I no longer enjoy their music or their performances. In fact, quite the opposite is true. The more time I have spent being a fan of them, the more I enjoy them and want to continue supporting them, right? However, I have learned for me that that will not be through continuing to collect them the way that I did. And I think I'll start talking with NMIX first because that was the first decision I made. I thought I was just going to downsize 2 members the way I did for Boy Next Door. But the reason I dropped them all together is because the collection became extremely stagnant. If you are a returning viewer, you know that I collected NMIX. Did I ever store an NMIX card on the channel? No, that is because I never hauled in any NMIX cards. My collection was sort of complete by my standards by the time I even started posting videos on this channel. And I know what you're thinking, what do you mean your collection was already complete? So completion by my standards for that collection was, for my 3 members, I only collected Korean album selfie cards that were less than $5 for all 3 members. And by that criteria, my collection was indeed complete. And that just led to me not really having any feelings towards the collection itself, right? There was nothing really for me to back collect anymore or even work on in the present time. I thought that the Heavy Serenade comeback would sort of sway me back into the NMIX collecting space. However, those prices, I waited multiple months and they were not dropping. I like to think this is because NMIX is getting more hype now after the Blue Valentine album, but who can say? I just was not really feeling the collection anymore because I was not interested in moving that price point. Spending more than $5 on a card is just not for me because that is Kehoe money, right? And then with Boy Next Door, it was a little bit different. So my mindset on how I want to collect casually in the future is I would like my casual collections to be complete Korean album photo card collections, with the exception of units. I don't know why, I'm just not really a unit card fan. I mean, they're cute, it's just I personally don't want them in my collection for some reason, but things like IDs and concept cards I am including in that sort of completion mindset. And doing that for 3 members of Boy Next Door felt a little bit more of a financial commitment than what I wanted for a casual collection, right? And so at first I thought about just dropping Jaehyun because out of the 3 members, he is the one that tends to be a little pricier. But in the end, I decided that I just want 1 member per casual collection. Again, this does not include 82 Major. They are their own special thing, right? I'm going to continue collecting all 6 members. And of course, my criteria for them is different because I don't have a completion mindset for them. I have got to take a shower after this. I live in the South, and it is, not only is it hot down here, but it's like humid hot, right? Even indoors. There are no ceiling fans in the house. And like I said, I do have one, but you will not be able to hear anything I am saying. Unfortunately, this page is mostly fillers, but once it's complete, it will look beautiful, I promise. And so back to what I was saying about my casual collections. Woonhak is staying. There are 2 new people that I have already started hauling in cards for, because that is another point I really wanted to talk about with you guys. Me being a little bit money conscious / a little bit of a guilty spender, I really prioritize, before I bring something new into my space, I feel the need to let go of something. And of course this isn't for everything, but things like clothes, books, collectibles, etc. I feel the need to let go of something before bringing something new in. That is just the way my brain works. I get overwhelmed really easily, and the thought of accumulating without there being a sort of give and take system really bothers me. Speaking of really bothering me, I think I want to switch these 2. And so, where am I going with this? I did not start hauling in these 2 new collections until I had already made a little bit of money selling off the other collections. I do all of my selling on Mercari US, and most of that credit stays in Mercari. I do withdraw a little bit sometimes, but I keep that money in the app so I can use it on either buying cards for Kiho or starting those new collections, right? And so because of that, I have not spent more than $2 on either of the 2 new collections I'm picking up. And so yes, I do have a lot of cards for them already with me, but I am still in the process of deciding how I want to store them. I'm picking up 1 boy group and 1 girl group, or 1 member for a boy group and 1 member for a girl group. And for my girl group collection, I know exactly what binder I want to put this person in. However, it is on the Mandu Deco website, and I have no idea when that binder is going to be in stock again. And that's actually why I'm using the Meow Cafe Mermaid Stardust instead of more of the Mandu Deco white glitter sleeves. That is what I already had. I only had about 100 sleeves, so I would still need 300. However, of course, I could have just saved a little bit of money by only buying the 300, but they are also out of stock. And this is not something I wanted to really wait any longer on now that my mind was made up, right? And since I was already buying this binder from Meow Cafe, I just purchased the Stardust sleeves from there. And I watched a lot of other collection videos where people use these sleeves, and even though it has a very subtle, like, pink-blue shift, I noticed it wasn't super noticeable. I was worried that if it was too colorful, it would be too distracting for me, but I think it is the perfect amount. And I have no idea where this filler was supposed to go. This is what happens when I try to do 2 things at once. But anyways, you will be seeing those new collections and Woonhak again at a later time, but I think Kiho deserved his own video. And like I said, I don't know when that Mandu Deco binder will be back in stock, so you will see my new girly eventually. No spoilers though. I feel like there was even more that I wanted to say, but I guess you guys can just watch me sleeve in silence for a little bit until I figured out what it was I already said and what was left that I wanted to say. I guess something else that I definitely already said, but just wanted to come back to, was that if you are someone like me who tends to feel a little bit guilty about how you spend money or how much money you spend on something at one time, being a collector can be hard, right, in that aspect. So if there was anyone like me who was watching, I just wanted to remind you that it's okay to spend money on hobbies. It's okay to spend money on things that are technically illogical. As long as you have your financial priorities figured out and you can still pay all of your bills and afford your groceries, there's nothing wrong with occasionally splurging. Like, this is something I was really thinking about for multiple weeks, and I couldn't get over this sort of guilt over how dare you spend money on a new binder and new sleeves when you already have supplies that work. And on the one hand, yes, that is a little bit wasteful, but you also have to consider, wouldn't it be equally wasteful to have something that you enjoy so much just kind of go to the wayside instead of putting in a little bit of time and money and effort to make that thing just as enjoyable as it was when you first started it, if that makes sense. I am so sorry if this is really awkward, but it's just so hard to store cards in these 8-pocket binders. Binders? 8-pocket pages. But I guess something else that I wanted to maybe talk out loud about is that in September, so next month, it will be my 1-year anniversary of collecting Kehoe. And this sort of relates to what I was just talking about with the guilty spending, but I feel like for the 1 year of collecting Kehoe, and I know what you're thinking, you literally just spent $120 on a binder and new sleeves. Why are you thinking about splurging even more? Just entertain me for a second. So with the 1-year anniversary coming up, I want to do something a little extra special, and what that extra special thing in mind is buying an undisclosed Polaroid of Kehoe. I have never had anything signed or any rare item like that before for anybody, but this is the longest I have ever collected anyone, and this is the most thorough I have ever collected anyone, right? So if I had to do it for anyone, it would be Kehoe, of course. And I am about to buy a couple of very exciting cards from someone on Mercari, and they happen to have an undisclosed Polaroid from, I think it's Standout era, so like a super early era, right? And I recognize the outfit he's wearing. It's one of the same jerseys in a photo card I already have. It's one of his winner's cards. But they have that thing listed for triple digits. And again, spending that much on just one thing does not sit well in my soul, but it is something that is living in the back of my mind. But I think it's just going to be one of those things I think about and never actually do, because I don't think I'd be able to forgive myself. And again, this is not me, like, throwing shade or spouting judgment. I am all about people who want to collect more rare things. If I had the financial leeway to do that sort of thing, I totally would. But not my place, not my time, and I am very content just collecting his regular schmegular items. Because as you can see by all of the fillers I've been storing, I still have plenty of work to do in that department. And I have like an aneurysm at the thought of buying a card for just $20, so. And I'm sure that this collection has changed even from the last storing video. This is a page I recently decided to expand, the pink fluffy sweater set. I associate Kehoe with pink, so anytime he's in pink or holding something pink, it's like, I absolutely need a full page of it, right? And for some reason I keep forgetting that P1 Harmony unit cards exist, because I think he's with Intak, where he's wearing the pink sweater, and Intak's outfit in those cards is also amazing, right? And I know I just talked about for my casual collections, I'm not interested in collecting unit cards, but this is no ordinary collection. And I do ult P1, of course. And for me, ulting a group also means I ult all of the members. And so I love the idea of collecting unit cards with Kehoe and the other members and working them into the collection so I can also see more of the other members. And it sort of satisfies my urge to collect more P1 members. The one thing that maybe isn't so great about the Stardust sleeves, even though you can kind of see through them, like all of these cards are double-sided, right? You can't really see it unless you're really looking at it, but I still think this was the best solution for me, and I am very happy. And I hope you guys are also happy for the new change, even though you've seen all of these cards before. I hope you're happy to see them going in new sleeves and being stored all over again, because I made some pretty decent headway with this collection before I even started posting about it. So it's kind of like you guys are seeing me store some of these cards for the very first time. And that was the first box all done, so now I'm going to grab the second one and we'll be getting pretty close. Here's box number 2. This will probably be the longest video on the channel, and hopefully it will be the longest for a while. Oh my gosh, there's another hair. If I did collect more people, I would have longer videos all the time. So I hope you guys are okay watching small-time collectors just as much as larger collection channels who collect full group for everyone they like, or pre-order benefits for everyone they collect. I love watching literally everyone's storing videos, and I love binder maintenance videos even more, so this video was exciting for me. But yeah, if you have a collection channel or you've posted a video before, I have most likely watched it, right? And like I mentioned a little bit earlier with the double sleeving situation, I love seeing how different people... Oop, I messed up somewhere. Let me get myself together, because there's going to be a Polaroid here. Yep, okay. I guess this is where that extra filler comes in. After all this time, it had a purpose after all. Anyways, so yes, I live vicariously through other people's collections, and I love seeing all sorts of stuff, right? Super small and specific collections, color-coordinated collections, collections where you are dedicated to having every single item with that person's face on it, right? And the one good thing, I think, about all of these companies doing a gajillion different rounds of pre-orders for a bunch of different stores is that it is impossible to fully collect someone. We all collect in very different ways. We all have different priorities. And I love that with all of these new supply shops, the collection can feel so personalized and so unique, and I think that makes it even more fun to share your collection with other people. Oops, I think I just shook you. I'm so sorry. I know for a fact that the sad song portion of the binder has changed quite a bit since last you saw it. I'm getting the units with Teo here, and so this outfit, this page will be one... What am I saying, you guys? This page will be very cohesive, is what I'm trying to tell you. Same with this one right here. I think the unit for this outfit is with Soul. It was, because these units were a bit more expensive for some reason than the units with the other members for this era. Which leads me into something I just want to quickly complain about. So literally, I think it was 2 or 3 days ago, Poke Market announced that they are doing 15% off of everything for the next 2 weeks. And my birthday is this month, right? And so I loaded up maybe 50 bucks into Poke Market at the beginning of the month and spent all of it quite quickly, just for, not even a week later, them to announce that everything will be 15% off for the next 2 weeks. So I'm a little frustrated that I could have saved some coin, but whatever. Most of what I spent that money on was unit cards and cheaper cards anyway. There is one extremely exciting card that I secured with that purchase though, and I will show you when it gets here, but just know that I have had my eye on this card for months, and I have not seen it dip below $13, but for some reason, I guess someone sold this card to Poke Market without realizing what it was, because all of a sudden, I go on there, and the card is $3. When I tell you, that is when I immediately loaded up my wallet, and the moment I bought it, the price jumped right back up to $13. Might be the most insane purchase of the year. I know for a fact this has also expanded since last you saw it. I know I so cannot talk, and I am so sorry. If you watch any of my videos and you can't understand half of what I'm saying, I have always talked very quietly and also have always been a bit of a mumbler, and I forget that I need to enunciate, or else people will just ask me to repeat myself a gajillion times, and I hate that. But I'm sure other people hate it just as much, that I'm constantly saying things that they don't understand because I'm not speaking properly. And I know I should not be expanding older eras when I have not worked on Unique at all, but in my defense, I am still waiting for all of my group order items to arrive before I decide what pages I want to set up, what POBs do I want full concept pages of, and stuff like that. And since it is still the newest era, I think that waiting a little bit might be the best move. I've already seen prices come down on a few things I have saved in my likes, so hopefully that is a trend that continues. And unfortunately, I am already thinking about when the next P1 comeback will be, because Unique was a Q1 comeback, right? It was very early this year, and I feel like after KCON is when we will get that comeback announcement. I don't know, just a guess. But I do hope that I make a lot more progress on Unique before that happens. I have received, I guess, photo proof of my group order items for the first batch from my managers. And I told them they could just hold all of my items until batch 2 items arrive, because they are Canada-based and I am US-based, so I would rather pay shipping just one time and wait a little longer, you know? I purposefully did not try to claim too much because I'm the type of person, I don't like having a lot of duplicate or extra cards. And with the claims I do have, I already have accumulated a few extra album photo card sets that I'm not too sure what to do with. I think maybe I'll try and trade all of them for Jungsob equivalents. I don't know if anyone will still be trading by the time I acquire those cards, but fun fact, if I collected any other member of P1, it would be Jungsob. And I even thought about, when I dropped those 5 collections that I told you about earlier, I thought about picking up Jungsob just for album cards, but I looked at the template again, and P1 has quite a lot of album cards. I keep forgetting that for some reason. I guess because I have all of them out of the way for Kehoe. I kind of forgot until I saw that template again and was like, you know what? I don't think so. And I don't know what it is, but for me, it feels a little bit weird to have such an in-depth collection for one member and then pick up another member and have such a small collection for them. Again, I've seen a lot of other people collect that way, like they collect full group and then collect a whole lot of extra things for their bias. But in my brain, for me, that is just not allowed. Which means maybe when I get those cards from my group order, I'll just sell them. Again, I don't even think people are buying for unique anymore, but you never know. This page will be complete when I get the next PokeMarket box. Thank God. I feel like I've been waiting so long to find that card for a good price. Also continuing to think about the theme of today's video, I guess. What happened to the downsizing videos? I swear there was a period of time when all of the girls were posting downsizing videos. I think downsizing is something we've all just started doing in our own time, but for some reason I love watching downsizing videos. And of course I thought about making one myself so you guys would know why I wasn't posting, what I was doing. But for me, downsizing, just like when it comes to acquiring new items, letting go of old items is something it takes me a long time to do. And for me, downsizing is kind of a tough love thing. Like when I post something on my Mercari page and someone buys it, of course there's that feeling of gratitude, like, oh yes, these cards will be going to a new home to help someone else with their collection. But it's almost an emotional thing as well, like, oh, now I really have to officially part with these cards, you know? That I do enjoy and that I do like, which is why I bought them in the first place. Sometimes it's easier to just throw a bunch of stuff in the trash without looking through it all first, because once you see it again, you're suddenly reminded of it, and it makes you want to hold on to it even longer, even though you haven't looked at it in who knows how long. This is me reminding you guys to actually clean your house, clean your room, get rid of stuff. Also, let's run that back because I have no idea what this 9-pocket page is for. Should I take this out? I don't know. I'll come back to that later. We are so close to the end. Oh my goodness. This page of X photo cards is the last thing to go. And speaking of X, I recently traded for a card I have been looking for so many months now. And it's just an album card where he's in this outfit and he's holding like the pink like feather boa, I think is what it is, that he's holding. I have not seen that card anywhere, not for sale, not for trade, but I found someone on Instagram maybe a couple weeks ago who had it and was looking for the Intalk equivalent, and I was able to buy the Intalk on Mercari for like $5, and it is on the way to that person, and once I have it, I will be putting it in a keychain and putting it in the front of the binder. Like, the Target exclusive is still going to go there. This card deserves to be front and center, and it will be. That was like my favorite photo of Kehoe for the longest time, when X promotions dropped. And now the last thing to do, which I did not want to do because I didn't want these placeholders to get mixed up, is re-sleeve these last few cards. So I'm going to do that off camera to give my phone a break, and I will be right back.